I think what my team and I have witnessed in just the last couple of hours here in Shanghai is really utterly extraordinary for China. We're just going to take you a bit closer to see the kind of groups that have gathered here. Beyond where we are, just a couple of roads back, last night were these first flashpoints of protests in Shanghai. People gathered, people were chanting things that have almost never really been heard on the streets of China. Things like down with the CCP, down with President Xi. It's really hard to express just how unusual this is. And so what's happened tonight is that people have gathered where the protest was last night, and gradually they have been pushed back by the police. We were in the middle of the crowd just a bit earlier, talking to people, filming them holding up these white pieces of paper, which has become a symbol of these protests. I think we can show you a few of those just here now as well. They were talking, they were crying out, free people, and then the police came and they barged right in through the crowds and they moved people back. Some people were definitely arrested, we saw. It's very difficult to say how many, but were pushed back and back. And now we have this sort of peaceful gathering of people up until the cordon, sort of where police have moved people back to. It's really hard to overemphasize just how incredibly unusual scenes like this are in mainland China. And it's particularly unusual because it's happening not just here in Shanghai, but it's happening in a number of cities across China. There have been protests in the city of Wuhan. There have been protests on university campuses in the cities of Nanjing and in Beijing as well. And there is a sense that this simmering weariness and frustration at the COVID-19 measures is really beginning to bubble over. And the catalyst was this big fire that happened in the city of Urumqi. It's many thousands of miles away from here in the west of the country. 10 people lost their lives in that fire. And there's feelings and fears and allegations that the reason those people died is because firefighters weren't able to get there quickly enough and the people weren't able to leave because of the lockdown measures. We're trying not to draw too much attention to ourselves here because there is a lot of police around. It's not necessarily all that safe, so we have to be a bit careful, but really extraordinary scenes here in China.